I'm going to make a really bold statement here. And I'm going to say God and all of humanity are one. Do you believe that? I think you do, or you wouldn't be here, right? God and all humanity are one, because we're all coming from that same source, right? So how could we not be one? This is my logic. There's one power. There's one presence in this universe. We know that's the truth. There's one God. Many paths, many names, right? People call that higher power, they call it God, they call it Spirit, they call it Great Spirit, they call it Jehovah, they call it, right? We could go on and on and on, and it's all the same thing. It's all that same power, that same presence that animates everything, including our very being. And because we call it something a little bit different, doesn't mean that has to be divisive. That doesn't mean we can't like somebody who calls it something different or sees it a little bit differently. I absolutely love that last line that Crystal shared in that opening reading. In that opening reading, don't do it. We are all children of the same God and members of the same human family. I mean, it can't be any more clear than that. Hopefully, when you came in, you got a little card. Did everyone get one? If not, do you still have them, or Bill and Susie have them? If you didn't get one, I know you might have come in a few minutes later, then please see Bill or Susie after service. It is a really beautiful statement. And that statement is this. It's from an organization called Common Passion. And it just spoke to my heart, and I wanted to share it with all of you. We are one humanity on this planet. All life is interconnected and interdependent. All share in the universal bond of love. Love begins with self-acceptance and forgiveness. With respect and compassion, we embrace diversity. Together we make a difference through love. Isn't that just beautiful? And the reason I made those cards, and take a couple if there are extra, because if somebody ever says to you, what's common ground about? You can hand them that card, right? Because that is basically what we stand for and who we are. We are all human beings, and nothing is going to change that. We are all citizens of this planet. We are called to live here in harmony with one another, no matter if they're across the globe. We are called to unify with all other citizens of this beautiful planet. That's what we're here to do, to love each other, to unify. And that means that we're working for that common cause of love, of unity. And it doesn't matter if somebody doesn't see the world the same way that we do. That's incidental. We are still called to love. We are still called to promote that unity. And our work is to create that unity through an inclusive mindset. And we can do that through building community. And that's something after service that actually Crystal's going to be leading a meditation on that, is how we can continue to build our communities, share who we are with other people, and maybe help them understand that we are indeed one human family. The spiritual practice of love and kindness and compassion that we talk about here, of being in service, it helps us learn to respect the differences of people who are different from us. And then in turn helps us to celebrate the diversity. There's not one person in this room that is identical to another. And don't we love that? We learn from that as we share. Unity is about sharing affirming our commonalities. It's not about focusing on our differences. It's about learning from each other with our differences. Now, that can be as simple as acknowledging what you have in common with another person, with someone that's different from you, be it a different religion, a different race, a different gender, culture, anything you can think of, right? It's just acknowledging that. I know, without question, that I have something in common with every single one of you. It's not going to be the same thing, necessarily, but we all have something in common with one another, with every being on this planet. First and foremost, we all breathe the same air. We share that with everybody on this planet. And everybody on this planet needs that air to breathe. When we recognize how we're like another person, what we have in common, it really does help build that solidarity with others. And that helps promote that compassion, that kindness, that peace. And isn't that what we all want? That's what we all strive for. The practice, however, is more than a passing thought. It's more than a passing acquaintance with a neighbor. And maybe having that superficial feeling of community. Feelings of true harmony and unity run deeper and last longer than that casual nod or an obligatory hello or a wave to our neighbor. True unity goes so much deeper than that. The practice of inclusiveness broadens our spiritual life. It helps us grow and expand and become more of who we are. And once you start doing that, once you start opening up to that, you recognize the oneness of our beautiful, diverse human family. And we need to be open to that. Pray for all of humanity in your time of silence, in your connection with God's source spirit. It makes a difference. Know that every being on this planet is blessed with love, with peace, and with kindness, whether you see it or not. I'm telling you, it's there. Know that each and every single soul is surrounded by that loving, healing energy of the One. That one energy, that one source, that one spirit, God, whatever you call that. And know that each and all are blessed through that grace. Because that is the truth. As you do that, you'll feel the love of the divine so deeply that you'll want to go out there and share it with all of humanity. You'll want other people to know that this love is for them too. That this respect and this kindness belongs to all of us. Our goal is to stand together, to give each other the strength and the support, to give each other the support of letting go of envy, of discouragement, of disappointment, or anger, or any other emotion that keeps us from being our best and our highest. It's time to let all those things go and support each other through that. We belong to one human family. And there are a lot of traditions that agree with this. This is the Baha'i symbol, and the Baha'i star, rather. And what they've done is put all the interfaith, the different symbols, traditions in there, which is really, really beautiful. The idea of being that one human family needs to be practiced. Not just, I said needs to be. I'd sure like it to be. Practice, a lot of the traditions talk about how we're all one, right? And it's so critical that that is practiced, not just said. Because being one human family demands that prejudice of any kind, racial, religious, gender, whatever you can think of, right? It has to be totally eliminated before you can stand up and say, We truly are one, and we honor all of it. And I think that's really, really important. Now, the Baha'i Faith uses a really interesting analogy between the world and humanity by using the human body. It's kind of cool. Within this organism, millions of cells, diverse in form and function, play their part in maintaining a healthy system. Now, isn't that the goal of humanity, right? To cooperate and to create this healthy system? The principle that governs the functioning of the body is cooperation. And that's the truth. Its various parts don't compete for resources. Rather, each cell from its inception is linked to a continuous process of giving and receiving. And doesn't that just speak to the world and humanity? We're not quite there yet, working on it, and we will get there. The Baha'i are also quoted as saying this: there is perfect brotherhood underlying humanity. For all are servants of one God and belong to the one family under the protection of divine providence. Amen. All human beings, every single human being on this planet has the same basic needs, wants, and desires. Every single being. And if nothing else, we have that in common with everybody. We all want to be noticed. We all want to be cared about. We all want to matter and be appreciated. That's not just you, right? That's all of humanity. We also want to eat and drink. We want to be healthy. We want to be able to have that sustenance to maintain a healthy body so we can grow, so we can expand, so we can be part of this beautiful community of planet Earth. We all need connection, not just with each other, but a connection to that higher power, to something beyond ourselves. That sense of community is really critically important to us as well, no matter who we are. To be with someone who's like-minded, who understands me, who gets me, to be able to have conversation, to talk and to share. That's so important to every human being. And having a purpose. We all need to have a purpose while we're here. Otherwise, it's kind of empty. And so that is another thing that we all have in common. That purpose may be raising a child, or being a teacher, or raising your grandchildren, or being of service to someone who's in need, just helping somebody out. It doesn't matter, but we need a purpose. And another important aspect of our human existence is that sense of safety and security. Now, I'm going to guess, and this is just a guess, that a lot of people this week have had a pretty shaky sense of safety and security, right? So now, that just tells you how important that aspect of your human existence is. The bottom line here, we all just want to be loved. We just want to be cared about. We want to be supported. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you look like. Doesn't matter what you call God. Doesn't matter who you love. All of those things are incidental. We still want the same things. We are one humanity, uniquely different in each and every single form, and still we're one. However, when we can fully embrace that, then our differences can absolutely be our greatest strength. I know that's true. So there's this story about a young mother, and she had a really long and tiring day. And she came home, and her young daughter wanted to be read a story. And the mom said, come on, I got to unwind. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. give me a few minutes. And the little girl, as most of us know that have children, they want what they want when they want it, right? So the little girl was really insistent. So the mom had this grand idea. She was reading a magazine, and what she did is she ripped off the last page of that magazine. And that back page happened to have a picture of the world, the entire world on it. So she tore it up in a bunch of different little pieces, trying to buy herself some time. And she gave it to her little girl, and she said, I'll tell you what, when you put this together and you're all done, then I'll read you a story. So the woman sits down thinking she's got some time. But she didn't. That quick, the little girl put the puzzle together. And the mom's like, how the heck did you do that so quickly? So the little girl said, on the other side of the world, on that page, was a little girl. And she said, so when I got the little girl together, the whole world came together. How beautiful is that? Truly is amazing what one person can do, isn't it? And I wonder what ways we could get our community and our world together. Now, I know there are a lot of organizations doing just that, and that's all good. But wouldn't it be great if we could do even more? If we could get more people and create more ways to bring people together as that one? Connecting people on a real deep personal level, really bonding with one another. Promoting that tolerance, that understanding between people who see their differences as maybe deal breakers. They can't be friends because it's us versus them. Those are the things that we want to let go of. Those are the things we just need to have go by the wayside. So, have you ever heard, this is a real question, okay? Have you ever heard the term barn raising? Does anyone? You have. You know? Okay. So for those of you who don't know about barn raising, it's a way that the Amish people come together in community to help each other, to bond, to get to know each other, to spend time together. And they start interacting in really personal, private ways. I love that idea, naturally. And actually, it's still done today. They still practice this in the Amish country back east. Basically, it's a collection of the community coming together in which a barn is built or rebuilt for one of the community members. Now, for the Amish, a barn's really necessary, obviously, because they need to store cereal, they need to store hay, and they need a place for their animals to be held. So it's a very large structure, and it's costly. So, and that requires more labor than a typical family could afford or actually provide. So they enlist members of the community, unpaid, to assist in building that neighbor's barn. And because each member is entitled to recruit others for help, the favor eventually returns to each participant. Now, how cool is that? Talk about getting to know your neighbor, right? Wouldn't it be amazing to see that generosity and that honoring of one another just grow and expand? We don't do that a lot in the United States anymore. I know that as we make an effort to organize ways to help each other out and come together, that our communities and in turn the world will be better off, because we'll get to know each other. We'll know there's no need to be afraid of you because you're different than I am. We have the same basic needs. And as we do things together like that, people get to know each other. People are kinder to each other. And that promotes that idea that we are all one, that we are all one human family. That's how I want to see this world when I go. I want to see a peaceful world where everybody's okay with everybody else. And you know what? I know it's a possibility. Me and John Lennon. I know it's a possibility. Now, I have faith in humanity, obviously. And with that, I have been called naive. I have been called hopelessly optimistic. And you know what? I'm okay with all that. Because I think as we hold that mindset, things change. I'm not so naive as to think that greed, rudeness, abuse, and selfishness don't exist. I know they do. I can't deny it. However, I don't believe it's because we have bad or evil people. I think part of that issue is our society, our systems. Now, you guys are incredibly kind, loving, generous, giving, supportive, all those wonderful things. And you know what? That's exactly how I see the human race. All those kind, wonderful things. I meet people every day that are friendly, that are kind, that remind me that what I do is a good thing and necessary. And I so appreciate that. Humanity is a wonderful, wonderful thing. People are amazing, beautiful creatures. Get to know some, because it's like great. What we need to do is bring out the best in people. Learn how to bring out the best in people. To bring them together, to have people help each other instead of trying to outdo each other. We need cooperative systems, not competitive ones. And we need unifying systems, not divisive ones. We need change. And as Gandhi famously said, right, we need to be the change we wish to see in the world. So don't be competitive. Don't be divisive. Stay away from that kind of thing. Because here's the thing. The change always begins here. You have that responsibility. You have that gift to change things. Join me in making a difference. Join me in that change, because it does matter. I'm going to close with a beautiful statement, actually a creed, from a website called One Human Family. Who knew? And this is their creed. As a member of our one human family, I choose of my own free will to treat all people with respect and dignity. You guys in so far? I recognize that every person is my brother or sister in our human family, regardless of what they look like, what they believe, how they choose to live, and whether I agree with them or not. Still good, right? I will do my part to help all people receive fair treatment and reach their highest potential. I will have the courage to help people when they are down or when they are in harm's way, and the wisdom to let them learn for themselves. I will show empathy to those who suffer, forgive those who have wronged me, and be a friend to those who will let me. This is my promise to our human family. Thank you so much for being here this morning while I shared this truth, as I understand it.